Hey folks, welcome back to the Edupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. And today again we will continue with the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act 1992, which is the SEBI Act 1992, right? As I told you, SEBI is a little lengthy chapter, right? So we'll try covering up the subject matter in a little quick format, right? So there are certain things that I would skip as well, which are very plain and very blunt, that you can go ahead with just a reading, right? But even in those just reading formats, all those topics which are really important for your examination, right, that will be covered first, right? And then after we have completed the syllabus, we'll go ahead to the rest of the topics which are not very important for your examination. Okay, so if you remember, then in the previous lecture we were discussing about what is the power to issue direction with the SEBI. Next we see section 11 subsection C, section 11C. Next we have section 11D, and 11D talks about the cease and desist proceeding. So do you know what is cease and desist? Cease is to stop, they curb it, right? You know that a property is seized, nobody is allowed to enter, right? The police is all around. You remember the movie Shooter at Lokhandwala? The entire area is seized, so nobody will come. Desist is that, okay, now there is a barrier. Now there is a factory is not operating well. What will happen? You see a seize order in front of the factory. The entire factory is sealed and it is seized. That nobody can enter. But desist is that even after we go further also, ever, nobody is allowed to enter. Seize, stop now. Desist, don't do it again. It's the simple meaning of cease and desist, right? So we need to see section 11D, which is the cease and desist proceedings, right? So there are basically two requirements in the cease and desist proceeding. So if we look at section 11D, this section basically empowers the board, the Security Exchange Board, to pass an order which requires a person to cease or desist from committing or causing a violation. It is not after the violation we cease, desist a property or something like that. That is an example that I have given to connect what cease and desist means, right? But what section 11D says that if you are going to commit, or if you are going to take a step which is in violation of the provisions of the rules or the act, right, then SEBI may ask you to cease and desist. Cease means stop, don't do this, and desist, don't commit this even further later on after we go, right? So cease and desist will basically have two requirements. Number one is that this board, the SEBI, they shall cause an inquiry, right, to see whether there is an act which is violated, to see whether a person has violated or is about to violate any provision of the act, rule of regulation or regulation. If I have violated something, stop, cease, and don't violate again. If they know that I am about to violate something, stop. You cannot move ahead with violation of the rules. And SEBI will again in this case also will not pass any cease or desist order in case of a public company or any company which is getting their securities listed in the stock exchange, unless they have a reasonable ground that those companies are involved in insider trading or market manipulation. So always understand, whether it be investigation in section 11C, whether it be cease and desist order under section 11D, right, everywhere, if the case is not of a person, not of an intermediary or a stockbroker or an agent like that, if it's a case which comes back to a company which is listed, or company which is on the verge of getting listed. So stock exchange, you only find the company is listed, right? But also who are going to be listed, their applications may have come up. So for these companies, when you are ceasing, desisting and doing all these things, when you're doing it with individuals, the intermediaries, it's okay. But when you're doing the same thing with this large corporation, understand you don't have the bandwidth. Who will give you the bandwidth? The court, the law, they will give you the bandwidth, but they will give you the bandwidth to cease, desist a company and stuff only when the company has involved itself into something major. And that major is insider trading or market manipulation, right? That is all about section 11 that we had to consider. From the next lecture, we'll start section 12A. Okay guys? So I'll see you guys back in the next lecture. Until then, this is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.